welcome to the Utah Puck Report. I'm your host, Jay Stevens. Glad to be with you. Glad to be talking about hockey, and we've got a lot of hockey to talk about. So I had to bring in the geniuses. I had to bring in the big brains, and really break it down. And we'll talk about the Utah Grizzlies as well. So who better to talk about the Utah Grizzlies than the current voice of the Utah Grizzlies, Tyson Whiting, and the former voice of the Utah Grizzlies and one of the current voices of the Utah Mammoth, and Adrian Denny. And I made it through that whole thing without saying the wrong team at the wrong time. Because every time I try to say something about Utah hockey, I always say Grizzlies, or when I meant to say Mammoth, or Mammoth when I meant to say Grizzlies, or every once in a while Utah Hockey Club pops in there too. So guys, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Jay, for having us.
It's great to be here.
First off, I know we were all at the game last night, and Avs were in town. And everybody talked on their shows and my show about what a measuring stick the Colorado Avalanche were going to be, to see where the Mammoths stack up against a Stanley Cup favorite. And you had, I got starstruck. I had great seats. My Tegan got me good seats. My son got seats from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake. They own the beauty lab, and that's where my son works. And they have club level seats. I was 4 rows up, just to the left of Vamelka for 2 periods, and then I got to be next to Wedgwood during the overtime goal. So I had like the best seats for that action, and seeing Veggie make a huge save on McKinnon when he comes in, and just, he had 2 shots on that one breakaway, and Veggie was there for both of them. So amazing game. Adrian, what did you think of the game? And give us a little bit of what you thought, then we'll get to Tyson.
I thought it was just a good snapshot of what we've seen so far from the group in terms of just staying even-keeled, being composed. Fell behind 1-0. Looked like it was 2-0. The offside challenge overturned that. Then Jack McBain got hurt. Then Utah thought they tied it. Then that got overturned because Liam O'Brien was in the crease. It never got overturned. It was disallowed on the ice immediately by the referee.
I thought they should have challenged that.
Off the play. I thought it was an easy no goal. He entered the crease, made contact, wasn't forced in. I thought it was good. Then tied it, and then took the lead 3 minutes later, and then Colorado pushed back a couple times. Utah responded each time and won the game. So I thought, from just what we've been talking about, the maturity standpoint, staying level-headed, staying composed, thought it was a great game. And I broke it down into three categories of why they won and why they lost the last time they played the Avs. Won the power play battle, 1 for 2 on the power play, killed the only penalty, only went shorthanded 1 time against the Avs. That was the best part of the penalty kill. Our stars were better than their stars. Keller, multiple point games for a second straight contest. Schmaltz got another goal, finishes off a 4-goal homestand, 5th leading scorer in the NHL. Sergachev had a 3-point night. Makar had 1 point. And Gunther, of course, with the game winner. And then the third component, our goalie outplayed their goalie. So that's how you win. You outplay the opposition with your stars, with your goalie, and win the special teams battle. And that's a 1-goal win, but big deal for the win for a number of reasons. 4 games in a row was the most won by Utah last year. It came in December. We felt and have seen playoff teams win 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row. So you want a streak like that during the course of a season. So that's one item. Second item is you just beat 3 playoff teams or 3 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year. Okay. So number 2, can you finish a homestand 4-0? Can you keep that consistency going? And can you beat a team like Colorado? Because if you're going to put 4-game, 5-game, 6-game winning streaks together, you're never going to go more than 4 games without playing a Colorado, an Edmonton, a Dallas, a Winnipeg, a playoff team. So I thought that's why you won. And that's why last night was big. Early on in the season, we were talking last week, Jay, about Utah's start. Went 1-2 right on that trip, and we're like, don't judge a trip on 2-3 games. Don't judge the start of the season by 2-3 games. And you're seeing Seattle unbeaten. That's all of a sudden the 2-game losing streak. So first week or 2 of the NHL season, don't read too much into it, but you better start reading into it when you get into weeks 3, 4, a month in, because when you're at Thanksgiving, 75 to 80% of those teams that are in playoff spots are going to be in the playoffs. So that's how big the games are. So we caution, don't read into 2, 3, 4 games, but you better figure it out quick. And Utah did that, and it was just adding goals a game. We talked about we need 3 goals a game because we're allowing 2.33 goals a game. So they allowed 2.22 goals a game on the homestand and scored 4 goals a game, and there you go, 4-0. That's how I sum it up.
Easy math, easy, like, makes sense on paper, right? So Tyson, what did you think of the game last night?
Wasn't it always Dylan Guenther? Like, you get to overtime, you get these big moments, and it's always Guenther, and that was a perfect pass by Keller in overtime. But you're going, the great thing is, they play a good Colorado team that's got a hot goaltender in Wedgwood, and they were able to score 4 on them, and really it kind of felt like the type of win that you're going to need come April, come May. And so that was certainly great to see, really to close out what was an outstanding homestand where they really got the offense rolling. It was great to see Nick Schmaltz have an outstanding homestand, and really it was just great to see all the defensemen, buckle down and play well, and Veggie's been outstanding in net. So really the great thing about this homestand is everything came together, and the Mammoth definitely have a ton of confidence based on what's happened in this homestand. The great thing is, you get a great atmosphere like it has been against Colorado. And I kind of wonder, everybody's talking about, what's going to be the Mammoth's biggest rival. And I think that, with Colorado, especially with the success they've had, I think it's going to turn into a great rivalry over the years.
Yeah, that makes sense. It totally could be. One of the things that I really noticed last night, and yes, I think Veggie's awesome, but I also think taking one off the side of the ear and have it go in is such a demoralizing. I've done that multiple times. I thought it was just me. I thought I was the only goalie in the world that could take one off because when you're in that RVH on the side of the post, your head's in that corner to stop the puck. It's going to hit your head, and you think your head's secured the post, and you saw him secure the post. He did kind of wince a little bit, but that's just a hard goal, and he looked great after. He still looked great. But the Krause line, and McBain got hurt, but not before he made a lot of impact in Carconi. And you talk about a line, especially with Carconi and Krause, from what they're recovering from last year, not being great years for them. And it looked like Carconi wasn't even going to be a Mammoth this year. And for them to come out and play that the way they played, our third line made a huge difference in a lot of different plays, which made it easier for lines 1 and 2 to do what they wanted to do. I was pretty impressed. I was really impressed with Cooley and McKinnon. I mean, that's not an easy assignment at all. So big pluses for the team, big plus. And Adrian, like you said, winning the power play, were you surprised? I was really surprised when I was doing research for the show yesterday to see that the Mammoth were tied for 28th as the 28th worst power play in the NHL with Colorado, who you think would be just a potent power play team. So a team that, both teams trying to figure out the power play. It was awesome to see Sergachev have a multiple point game and just, constantly bringing the fans out of their seats all night. And even when the goals get waved off, like it was fun to, get up and be a fan last night instead of sitting in media and not being allowed to cheer, and get up and wave the rally towel and have a good time. And the team just lights that building up. It's so much fun.
Yeah, those are some great points on the third line, Jay, because McBain, when he got hurt, he had laid down 3 hits, but Carconi and Krause were able to keep it going, keep the momentum going while McBain wasn't playing. And then Kevin Stenlund joins the action as your mix and match lines and helps Carconi make a play that gets it to Krause for a big goal for the first lead of the night. I thought it was a big homestand for lines 3 and 4. We saw the first goals from Carconi, from Liam O'Brien, from Lawson Krause, from Kevin Stenlund. You got that secondary scoring that you didn't necessarily see on that road trip. And it's a rivalry now. I felt going into the game, you talk rivalry, you're trying to create something, you're anticipating something. It's not a rivalry until you win a game. But here's how we know it's a rivalry. Colorado's reaction to the game last night. Their fans were upset with the ESPN broadcast, how Utah-centered they perceived it to be. There were some comments in the arena on how loud it was. Is the arena too loud? The Utah fans really got under the skins. The Mammoth really got under the skins of the Avs. And now you've got a rivalry between those two teams. So we'll take it. We've been trying to find a name for the rivalry on our show over the last year or so. We're still working on it, but now we officially have that rivalry, because with the rivalry comes hard feelings and dislike and distaste. And you've gone from, a team that he had one win against in 4 games. And I don't think Colorado really thought too much of it until the 2-1 game opening night. That woke them up. They took notice there of how well Utah played. They weren't thrilled with their game. So that was kind of their mindset going into the game. We played our worst game against Utah 2-1 and beat them. So got to play a better game. But Utah just came out and another 1-goal game. So back-to-back 1-goal games decided in the third period or overtime. That's how you have a rivalry, and that's how people start getting emotional. That's why you get emotional, because the games are good and you're not getting the results you want or you used to getting, and against people that get under your skin.
The fuel is definitely there to light that fire for the rivalry. Is Rocky Mountain rivalry, is that too easy? Is that too plain? Something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a question of has that been used? Like, that's what we've been going through. We've been looking through years and years and years of files, trying to make sure we find something that's original. And our fans throughout Utah have been great on the fun stuff that they've submitted.
Real Salt Lake
use Rumble in the Rockies, which I think Utah and Colorado tried to use. Rumble in the Rockies or something like that the Utes and Buffaloes had tried to create.
Tyson, that's what this rivalry became last night. This rivalry became going from Utah CU to trying to tell the Utes that Colorado's their rival to an actual, okay, this is a real rivalry now. That's I thought about that comparison. We're the next state over. You have to go through Wyoming to get there. This went from being Utah CU to a legitimate NHL rivalry on Tuesday night.
Yeah, rivalry was born last night for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Tyson, you had to be like me. You had to be like just hoping a little bit that something would happen. Not that I ever want somebody to get hurt, but I wanted to see Trent Miner in that game.
It was fun
seeing him on the bench.
I was rooting for it. It was fun seeing him in warm-ups taking a bunch of shots, and it was great to see old number 50 out there. From what I hear, he might be there the rest of the week, which means Colorado's got a back-to-back at some point, so he might get a start at, and if that back-to-back happens before Blackwood gets back and healthy for the Avs. And it's certainly been great to see him. Over the last couple of days, we've been excited about Charles-Edouard Dastu getting called up to the Lightning. And we're certainly hoping that he's on the Lightning roster on November 2nd when the Lightning are over at Delta Center, because if you're talking about individual season performances, he had one of the great years in Utah Grizzlies history.
Yeah, and they were both there together.
Playoff runs.
Dastu was there just setting records. Trent Miner was there on the same team at the same time setting the shutout records. And, I mean, that's for the length of the Grizzlies. And you're talking Jason McCashua was there, Mike Smith was there. They had legitimate NHL goaltenders that didn't set the records that Trent Miner set. And same thing with defensemen. We had real NHL defensemen playing for the Grizzlies that, and Dastu comes in and sets records for them too. So, okay. So we've opened the can, the Utah Grizzlies. We talked about Dastu. We talked about Miner, former Grizzlies in the NHL. It's here. The final hunt starts Saturday night at the Maverik Center. And I'm excited to announce that I'm included in it this year. I am e-bugging for the other side, but I'm going to be there. For the Idaho Steelheads called me. Their goalie got pulled up to Texas, so I get to be there. I get to sit the bench and have some fun and start the hunt, even on the other side. But it's still just good to be a part of it. And obviously, this is going to be it for me. This is my 28th year as an e-bug, and obviously, this is going to be the last year, since the Grizzlies are leaving, and the NHL has this little rule that their e-bugs can't be, they can't be over 30 or they can't be over 35. Either way, I'm just north of that a bit. So the e-bug dream comes to an end. What's that?
Just by a couple of years.
Just by a couple of years. Not many. But so obviously you guys have been such a big part of the Grizzlies, and anybody that's been a fan has listened to you guys and has, you've impacted so many hockey fans here through the Grizzlies. Adrian, I'll start with you. Tyson, you and I have talked about it a little bit. I just want to touch a little bit on your thoughts of this being the final season, and maybe tell us like your favorite part. Like, do you have one favorite memory of being part of the Grizzlies?
Our conference finals run in 2008 is something I always think of. Triple overtime in the first round in Fresno, which Utah won. Justin Bourne, who's now a media superstar in the NHL, got the game-winning goal. Went on to beat Fresno in 6 games, beat Victoria. Thought we had the team, and that's how it goes. You think you got the team, and there's 3 other teams that think they're the team too. So it wasn't our year, but that Western Conference Finals run in 2008 was always special. Jay, huge part of it. The Guns and Hoses night in January, packed house in Maverick Center was just always a magical night. Our military appreciation nights, our pink in the rinks, just the way the community got behind the Grizzlies for those causes. And the players were always so into it and wanted to put on a show so much in front of the fans. And we touched a lot of people. We impacted a lot of people. We were touched by the community and the support that we received. And it's been a great run. And it's the Elmore Sports Group and Dave Elmore and Kevin Bruder and Jill Roberts and Jared Youngman. They're why I've reached every dream that I've ever had. That's where it started. And, that's, I'm a Grizzly for life. And I, loved every second of it. And it allowed me to move on to opportunities that I wanted to pursue. But like so many players and coaches and broadcasters, without the Grizzlies, there wouldn't have been that path to get where I wanted to be and where I dreamed to be.
Yeah, that makes sense, and we've talked about that quite a bit. And Tyson, how about you, man? What's it like in there, and what's your highlight? And hopefully this year's the highlight. Hopefully whatever happens this year is huge, and I hope the Grizzlies go out with just this loud bang. But tell us a little bit about it. Like, how are you feeling over there, and what's your highlight?
Well, we're just kind of having fun and taking it a day by a day at a time. And team looks pretty good on the ice this season. Looks like they're going to be pretty strong defensively. It's interesting. My sentiments are pretty similar to Adrian. That I remember the Western Conference playoff run we had in 2022, led by Trent Miner and Dastu and Nate Klorman, who has also made it to the NHL. He played in a game with Pittsburgh last year, and we had a dominant team. We had so many rookies, but they all just stepped up and played great. And, eventually we ran into Toledo. It had literally 0 rookies on their roster, and they had a ton of experience. And they found a way to slow down Dastu just by having a guy just shadow him wherever he went on the ice. They just had a guy just make sure that he wasn't going to get loose. And then we unfortunately lost Miner for a game or two to Colorado to go sit the bench for the Avalanche in the middle of their Stanley Cup championship run that year. And there were so many great memories there. The Dastu game winner with 7 seconds left in Game 2 against Rapid City in the second round was a memory I'll never forget. So it's really memories like that. Earlier in that regular season, Dastu wins a game with 1.8 seconds left in regulation against Idaho, and Idaho ended up missing the playoffs by 1 game. And that 1 game, maybe that standing point that they didn't get, by even forcing overtime, if that could have made the difference there between them making the playoffs and not. So it's a lot of memories like that, and it's a lot of. I had a ton of fun 2 years ago when we saw this huge attendance jump, and we'd have Saturday night crowds where 8,000 was pretty much the norm, and even Friday nights, we'd get 7,000 or 8,000 in the building, and every it was packed. It seemed like every night, and every time there was a big crowd, the game ended up being highly entertaining. I kind of think about all those memories not only over the last 8 years here with the Grizzlies, but really going all the way back to the Turner Cup run in 1996. When we broke the single game attendance record when they won the Turner Cup against Orlando, at that point you realize that, hockey could get really big here, like NHL team kind of big. And it kind of started with a vision of that night where you could just see the possibilities of what it could be, and all that came with the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and now it's back in the same building.
They kept the spirit and flame of pro hockey alive and well for well over 3 decades. Like if you wanted to go watch a pro hockey game here in the state of Utah, a Grizzlies game was it. We talked about a couple weeks ago where, how many people met their wives? How many first dates ended up going, being at Grizzlies games? All those memories, and they're going to last forever.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for people. Like you can't. The NHL is amazing, and it's I'm NHL obsessed 100%, but I couldn't afford to go to every NHL game like I can't afford to go to every Grizzlies game. And Adrian, you bring it up, man. I was talking to Jared Youngman a couple days ago. It was his birthday, so I had to call and harass him and sing happy birthday to him in my lovely singing voice. But I remember calling him, and he was just a rookie ticket guy. And I called and I was like, hey, I've got this idea. Like these other markets are doing these police and fire games. And, I'd only been with the fire department for like a year at that point. I'm like, I think we could get enough people. I think we could do this guns and hoses thing. And I think we could make it successful. And just sitting down and the Grizzlies being open to it because, it's time to sell some extra tickets and get out there. And the first year we barely had enough for each team, and we made each guy sell 10 tickets. And then it was like, all right, now we've got more guys, but if you want to make the team, now you got to sell 30 tickets. And we just packed that building. And we built this, not just a huge event for them, but like for the police and firefighters, it's a good event for us to get together and build camaraderie between us. And it helps us like know each other out in the field because we work side by side a lot, but I don't know a lot of their names or anything. But then getting practices and getting to play and getting to feel like you're a part of something and feel like you're a part of the Grizzlies was always something that was kind of next level for me. And, I ran that thing for 19 years and it was just important. And my whole family pitched in, like my daughter from 7 years old up there ripping raffle tickets and handing out raffle tickets and tracking prizes down and making sure all the prizes got to the right people. And, my wife always helps. My wife always has to put up with all the crazy crap I do anyway. So it's just been, and like I said, a lot of my first dates with my wife before she was my wife were taking her to Grizzlies games. And my son asked his long-term girlfriend to prom by having Grisby bring the sign, so it's just, it sucks that it's leaving because it's so affordable. But, and I've said it time and time again, I believe that building's only empty for 1 year. And then something else goes in there, AHL something. Like, even if they're planning on putting the AHL in St. George, it's just too good of a building for hockey to not have hockey in it. What do you think, Adrian? You got any, you're over there in the secret world. You know some stuff that maybe the rest of us don't know.
No, I find out via press release on all announcements is I should as a broadcaster. Fortunately for me, my talents are commentating, analyzing, entertaining, and the SEG realizes that and does not consult me in regards to business operations, hockey operations, or future strategies.
It was funny because the first time I had a couple meetings with Ryan Smith, and he just told me all this stuff, and he's like, and I had to sign an NDA when I went in there, and Caroline, that was the first time I met her, and she scared the crap out of me, man. There was no way I was going to get on the radio and not say, or I was definitely not going to say the things I wasn't allowed to say, but then I'd get on the radio and be like, man, I think everybody needs to know this part of it at least. And yeah. So now they don't tell me anything. Now I'm on the outside looking in. I'm a media guy. I get the same text you guys get on the press releases.
No, for me being a broadcaster in the National Hockey League it's as good as it gets, and the people in management and making the strategic decisions, everything they do turns to gold, and that's going to continue to happen. Our announcements on Wednesday that the Jazz are getting a practice facility next to the Mammoth practice facility and next to SEG headquarters at Southtown, just the latest one. And this this group will continue to, turn everything to gold and all they do, and continue to blow our minds in all the ideas and plans for Utah that they have on their horizon.
See, I didn't know that part was a secret. I thought everybody knew that the Jazz were going there too. So I'm glad I didn't blow that, because when we did the walk through the practice facility, Ryan Smith was the guy walking us through, and he said something like 3 or 4 different times about it. He mentioned something about, I think he was talking about the MRI machine coming in. So, and then I think at some point maybe he caught himself and stopped talking about it. And so I'm like, oh, it makes sense. So it probably isn't a secret. It just makes sense to everybody, and that's just part of the plan. So when the press release came through, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I didn't say anything about it, because I would have probably been in trouble with him. And then the funny thing, last night, I had a couple adult beverages at the game because, like I said, I got to be a fan last night. And Ryan Smith was sitting right like 5 seats away from me. We got the overtime goal, and I looked at him, and I just gave him the horns, like, yes. And he kind of looked at me, gave me the horns back, and I think he was embarrassed about it. And I was like, oh, probably shouldn't throw horns at the owner. But that's my salute. It's either the hang loose or it's the horns. I'm a Rock fan. Tyson, tell us what we're in store for Saturday night. Ty Voigt? He's the leading scorer right now. Who else should we be looking at? And how's the goaltending this year?
Goaltending is actually really good. We got a pretty good 1-2 combination. We have the 2022 Hobie Baker Award winner, Dryden McKay, who's had about 3 or 4 years of pro experience. He was with Newfoundland and had a good year 2 years ago before they folded. And last year was in Greenville, had a cup of coffee with Ontario in the AHL. And he's an outstanding goaltender. He's a little bit more on the small side, but he's got great technique. And then, we got Dylan Wells, who's got about 7 or 8 years of experience. He's played with a handful of AHL teams. He's actually got a winning record in the AHL. And so he's been pretty good. And so it doesn't really matter who's in net. They've got a pretty good 1-2 combination. And defensively, they're much improved. Garrett Pike and Christian Felton. Felton's an outstanding skater. He had an NHL contract with Vancouver last year. He scored a goal on Sunday. And, it seems like all the defensemen do a great job making quick decisions with the puck, and they seem to really do a good job of getting into the offensive flow, but also at the same time staying back and making sure that they don't allow the odd man breaks. And so the defensive unit's really been solid, and I think the offense is really going to start clicking. I think they're actually open for a similar type of homestand starting on Saturday, and then obviously they got 3 games against Jacksonville the next week. They're hoping for a similar type of homestand as to what the Mammoth just had. One where they continue to buckle down and play well defensively, and yet get the offense going to where maybe they can get 3 or 4 goals a game. And that's really the hope. And they've been working hard in practice, and everything's looking strong. They've got a lot of forward depth. It seems like they've got a pretty strong 3 or 4 forward lines. The one name in terms of forwards to watch out for, a guy named Danny Genev. He's about 5'5". He played at Penn State. He's a first-year pro, but he's lightning. He just goes from 0 to 60 in a blur. And seems like every game he gets 3 or 4 really good scoring chances. And he's somebody that everybody's going to get excited to see, as well as Jack Ricketts, who's got an AHL contract with Tucson. He had 3 outstanding years at the college level in terms of goal scoring. And once he gets his feet wet in pro hockey, Jack Ricketts is going to be a pretty good one as well.
All right, I'm excited. And it's crazy because some of these kids have NHL talent, but they're just not looked at because they're small. And I'm sure that's the deal with the goaltender, and just like it was for Minor. Adrian, you gonna be there Saturday night? You coming for the home opener?
I will not be there on Saturday night, but I've made plans to be at several games during this season, as I do every year. Grizzlies are fun. My niece and nephew love the games. They've already asked, when are we going? They're huge hockey fans. They were at the Mammoth game on Sunday, all decked out in their brand new jerseys. My niece got a salt white, and she exchanged it for a rock black, just to make sure that didn't get anything spilled on it. So that's how
smart.
That was her thought process there. But our family loves hockey, loves coming to Mammoth games, loves going to Grizzlies games, and we'll be out at Maverick Center cheering on the Grizzlies anytime that we can. We love the Sunday afternoon games when we can go skate on the ice after after games, and it's been a big part of our family since I started with the Grizzlies when I was 20 as an intern. And my parents went to every single game that I ever broadcasted for, and continued throughout COVID, but still went to all the games when I went down to Arizona, and now my niece and nephew, 10 and 7, are huge hockey fans, and they both got Grizzlies jerseys, and the Grizzlies have been a big part of their lives as well.
Are you going to do the doubleheader, Adrian? You got Mammoth and Wild at 3:00. Are you able to do that and then get down to Utah, Colorado?
No, I'm not going to be able to do that either. I wish. It's 4:00, Tyson. Not to correct you, but just to give everybody my schedule so they know I'm not sloughing off on anything. But I am not going to be able to get out in time to get up to the hill. But as always, I'll be checking everything out. I'll have you pulled up on Flow Sports, Tyson. I'll be watching the Utes, all the big SEC games going on Saturday, and of course Saturday night in the National Hockey League is always crazy. So always look forward to Saturday nights and everything that's going on. But I always love listening to Tyson, calling the Grizzlies, and go Grizzlies as always. And we had a team here for almost 30 years in the Salt Lake Golden Eagles, 25 years. Great memories of them. We all loved them. Life evolves, and we've got memories of the Golden Eagles. We have great memories of the Grizzlies, and love every second that we spent involved in remembering all our times at the Maverick Center, watching on Flow Sports, my Utah TV. It's been a great run. So congratulations, Tyson, and you'll go get them and finish out on top with the Grizzlies. Enjoy your trip to Idaho. You're going to my favorite restaurant ever, and you know it. Lock, Stock, and Barrel, best steakhouse I've ever been to. It's the number one thing I miss about being on the road with the Grizzlies is the trips to Boise for Lock, Stock, and Barrel. So you send me a picture.
I'll make
Boise
sure to
is
do
such
that.
a great place to go too. Tyson, so Flow Sports and on YouTube. That's how I always find you, on YouTube, and then I always make some little comment or whatever. And then for people that want tickets, how do they get tickets? Just on the Grizzlies website?
At UtahGrizzlies.com. I think Ticketmaster you can also go to, or you can give the people at the Grizzlies office a call at 801-988-8000.
All right. Well, guys, thanks so much for being on the show. I know you're both busy. I can't wait to see you guys again. It's because it's always around hockey. Two of my favorite people around my favorite sport. So thanks again, you guys, and have nothing but success for the rest of the week. Then we'll have to catch up again and see how everything's going.
Appreciate it, Jay. Have a good trip to Boise, Tyson, and good luck on opening night.
Thanks, Jay. Hey, thanks, Adrian. I'll let you know how Lock, Stock, and Barrel goes.
Please send pictures.